what my next guest has to say about it. Please welcome into the show Dan Geltrude. He's America's accountant, and that's why we threw this question at him. Dan, this isn't okay. Why would we ever give up our sovereignty when it comes to taxing our own people to somebody else? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Look, let me make a blanket statement. Global taxation in any form is a bad idea. Period. End of story. Okay, so that's part one. Part two of taxing based on net worth on an annual basis is actually very unfair. And on top of that, it may actually be unconstitutional. So I don't even know where we're going with that. Here's the issue with this global taxation thing. Government overspending is a worldwide problem, and it's caused by the same people. The politicians. You would not have a need for all this taxation on all these different levels if politicians weren't overspending in every single country around the world. But if other countries want to go down this road, Scott, I'm in favor of it. And here's what I say we do. Let the other countries tax on net worth, and let's have all those billionaires come to the U.S. with their companies and with their wealth. We'll take that because punishing success, in my opinion, is un-American.
Okay, I can barely get over the fact that some of our tax rates are really high on earned income. Okay, and I hate taxing windfall profits or capital gains. But I'll tell you right now, you want to tax people on an annual basis on their net worth? That's downright stealing. That is stealing. There's no other word for it. So that's not earned income. It's not a windfall profit. It's not a capital gain. They're just taxing you on how much you are worth at the end of the year. And I cannot believe that we didn't push ourselves away from that table and walk out. But here she feels virtuous that she's going to give us her thoughts on the whole idea, where I think whatever thoughts they were too long because she stayed in the room about 5 seconds too long. Why would we even entertain the idea long enough to come out with something to say about it?
Well, here's what I'll do, Scott. Just for the sake of conversation, I'm going to actually take the other side to keep our discussion going. I guess you could make an argument to some extent that this is kind of like an estate tax or a death tax, in which you tax the value of what someone is worth. But the problem is that you're doing it every single year.
Yeah.
That's the issue. But like I said, if you're going to try to present the argument, you're saying, well, it's not that much different from an estate tax, which does tax the value. Now, I'm not in favor per se of an estate tax. That's just where I think the illogic tries to become logic.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, yes, you're right. I mean, it could act like an estate tax, but not every year. People don't die. That same money, an estate tax is a windfall profits tax. That's all it is, right? And I kind of referenced that in my first example. But this idea that every year you get taxed on the value of your estate, and 2% might not be a lot to you, but if you got $1 billion, all of a sudden it is a lot. And how about this? Why are we taxing people anyway? Because the government can't stop spending. I mean, why don't we have a government that is responsible and doesn't put ourselves at 9.1%, inflation, and stop spending so that we don't have these issues where we need to raise taxes because we're so broke? There's part of it is on them. They have a responsibility to be fiscally conservative as well, don't they?
They absolutely do. And I don't really see a fix for that problem. How do you get politicians to stop spending? Because that's their tool, that's their mechanism to get reelected, right? You just keep handing out the candy, which is other people's money.
I know how you do it.
Go ahead. How do you do it?
You got to have a balanced budget or you don't get paid.
And let's throw in term limits too.
Yes, yeah, exactly right.
So you don't have that incentive where every single decision is based upon what do I have to do to get reelected.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think if they don't balance the budget every year, they don't get paid, and they can only be in office a certain amount of years. I think you and I both. I think we just solved it there. I mean, there you go.
We did, but we're not voting on it. They are.
Right. Awesome stuff. I'm glad we got there. Thank you very much, Dan. Dan Geltrude. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for coming on. Can't wait to see you again next week.